How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Mr. Moore Heating and Cooling True Stories. I'm gonna try to keep this one short, so I'm gonna condense it all the way down. I got a longer version that I had recorded a little while ago, but it's too long. I'm gonna have to break it up. Let me see if I can do this again. I had a customer that called me the other day. She was a referral, first of all, and she was having problems with her AC unit. So I get out there, take a look at her AC unit. The dogs had peed on it or whatnot, and messed up the whole entire machine. Big old unit, think 3-ton unit or whatnot. Unrepairable. She needed a new one. I'm like, okay, you need a new unit and everything. I was like, would I be able to go in and take a look at your furnace and your evaporator coil and your thermostat and all that stuff before, I'm trying to get the full spectrum of her system, so I'll make sure it's matching up. I already know what she had outside. I still wanted to look on the inside and see what she had. She said, I wouldn't be able to go on the inside at that moment. The dolls are in the basement. She put them up because they was in the backyard. I'm like, okay, cool. So 2-3 weeks passed by. She came up with the money or whatnot for the AC unit. She was like, do you got time to install it? I'm like, yeah, go ahead and send the money through, and I'll go and get the equipment and I'll install it. But I need to come back out there so I can get in the basement so I can take a look at your furnace and everything, make sure everything is matching up. She was like, well, it wouldn't be a good time for you to come in the basement because the dogs are down there. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she's like, I'm at work. My daughter's there. The dog's in the basement. I don't want her dealing with the dogs. I'm like, okay, cool. Couple of dogs. She don't want me to go in the basement for some reason. I'm like, cool. I'm like, okay, well, the problem's just outside. I was like, okay, does your furnace work on the inside? She was like, yeah, the furnace works just fine. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, I'll go ahead and do it. Wire the money through. I'll pick up your stuff. She wired the money through. I pick up the stuff. I get out there and I install it. Get the old unit out of there, AC unit. Got the new one in. Started it up and everything. Everything was working just fine. She wasn't there at the time. Her daughter was there. Called her on the phone. I was like, can I get into the basement so I can take a look at your furnace to make sure everything is working right, make sure your filter is clean, and all that good stuff. She was like, well, it's not a good time. The dogs are down there. I'm like, I cannot get in this basement to save my life. I'm like, okay, cool. So the install is done. Everything is working just fine. I leave. I get a call later on that day. AC stopped working. I'm like, the AC stopped working. Okay, I'm like, okay, I get out there. I'm looking at the AC unit. No 24 volts going to the contactor. I'm like, okay, but you still have your 240 going in. So, okay, that breaker is working. The AC is 24 volts. It needs the 24 volts for it to work. Pushed in the contactor, with a screwdriver, it comes on just fine. Problem is on the inside with the furnace, just like I've been trying to get in there for the last couple of days, trying to get into that basement so I could take a look at that furnace. So I was like, I need to get into the basement. She was like, well, can you come back another day? So she called back 2 days later. I was finally able to get in the basement. And when I got into the basement, it was like 20 dogs down there. I couldn't breathe. It smelled like urine really, really bad. She had dog cages lined up all the way around the whole entire basement. Wasn't nothing in there but dogs. Maybe like 10, 15 dogs. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I really don't. Maybe. But I'm pretty sure it was like 10 dogs down there. And that's no lie. And it was vicious dog, boxers, pit bulls, and all types of dogs. I guess she was running a breeding ring or whatnot. I'm not too for sure, and I ain't trying to put nobody out there. None of my dang on business anyway. My business is the furnace and the reason why I wasn't working. So I get down there. Furnace messed up completely. Breaker kept on tripping to the furnace, not to the AC, to the furnace. And I'm like, okay. And she had a push button. It was a push button, really old breaker box. I'm like, you're going to have to call your professional electrician or whatnot to come through here and take a look at this and see what's wrong. Because everything is good outside what I've done, what you have paid me for. This stuff on the inside, which I've been trying to get inside to see what was going on in the first place, but you never allowed me to. So she's getting kind of upset or whatnot because things are not working and she paid me this money. I said, first of all, it's not my fault. I've been trying to get into the inside of this house for quite some time. Never could. But now I can get in here when things ain't working. I'm thinking things ain't working in the first place anyway. So, electrician come out a day later or whatnot. And he came and said, I hooked up everything wrong. That's impossible. AC ran just fine. When the AC was running, I actually put the video up on my Facebook and my business page. So I have evidence that everything is working perfectly fine. The problem was on the inside. And just like I said before, when I get down there in the basement, I couldn't breathe. The urine smell was so strong. It was like burning the hairs out of my nose or whatnot. I mean, it was horrific, man. It was like I was in a real bad movie scene that I couldn't get out of. It was like I just can't believe what I'm witnessing right now. Every year, it's always that one customer that's going to give you problems. I don't know why. Since I've been in business, I have not had a year where I didn't have that one customer that does strange stuff or talk strange or, just deranged or whatever the case may be. I'm not talking bad about anyone, but it's always that one customer. And, and this lady, it's nothing against her or whatnot. Whatever she doing with the dogs, that's on her. But you pay me for a service for the outside unit. That's what I did. I didn't touch nothing on the inside. Your breaker boxes, you need to replace it. You got some guy coming out saying I hooked up something wrong, which is totally false. First of all, I didn't touch nothing in the house. Never got inside of the house to do anything to it. So, I guess she's trying to figure out how to get some money back from you or whatnot. But my work was on the outside. I tried to get on the inside. Couldn't get on the inside because he wouldn't allow me to. And that's just the more of the story. I share these stories with some of these people. Some of these people on my page will look at it and be like, dang, you went through that. Yeah, we go through this stuff all the time as HVAC contractors and businesses. Things is not always peachy at all, period. We have these periods of moments where things go completely wrong. And most of the time, it's not our fault. We're just here to do a job. We're not really concerned on what's going on in your house and all this stuff. But if you have a bad breaker system or a breaker box, let the technician know. She didn't let me know that until things started working. She was like, oh yeah, I've been having problems out this breaker box for a while. I had fear of it not working. But why you didn't tell me that initially? If I would have went down in the basement at the beginning, I would have told you I couldn't install that AC unit until you update your breaker box. And that's just the moral of the story. All right, now y'all take it easy. Enjoy your day.